super producer and artist and DJ, Guiltybeatz. Do I refer to you as Mr. Beats, Mr. Guilty, or Guiltybeatz? I don't know.
Guiltybeatz.
Guiltybeatz.
I also like Mr. Beats.
Mr. Beats, I love it. So I was trying to explain to my colleagues this morning what Guiltybeatz means. I was trying to kind of deconstruct it for them. I said, you feel guilty after listening to his beats because they're that good. You don't feel worthy of listening to the beats. So hopefully that's the inspiration behind it.
You're in line with it.
Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
man.
you for having me.
Such a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
So talk to us about yourself, your life, your career. How did you start in the business as a producer?
So I started like officially in 2010. I was 20 years old, young guy. I got employed in the studio to be working there as an engineer. So I was just recording.
Self-trained engineer? You had a training background?
No, like self-trained. Like the guy that employed me trained me to like record artists.
But he saw passion behind it.
He saw the future.
He saw something in there.
Yeah, he saw because the guy that introduced I was making beats at that time. So my friend just sent like some of my beats to the guy. He was like, "This guy is the future.
Yeah.
Bring him to the studio. I want to work with him." And then on, I started meeting a lot of all these African artists, like Ghanaian artists. A lot of them. I was just recording the music that they'll bring the beats, and I just like, okay, you wanna hear my stuff?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this guy is good. And then from then on, recommendations. It was actually going beyond the music because they loved my vibe and they loved my personality. They love how I guide them when
I think the vibe is part of the mix especially when you're working with the artist. But we'll get to that. I want to go back before the big studio, like as a young teenager. Okay. Like how did you even start? Did you have a laptop? Was there something that like struck you about sound engineering, sound construction? Is it the music you're listening to at home and that like caught your ear? You're like, I want to do that.
So at the age of 13, I'll say that's where my passion for music started. I had this Walkman, and my dad had a lot of cassettes from George Benson. So I used to listen to a lot of jazz music from George Benson alone. Like I listen to it every day. And jazz is just instrumentals.
Yes.
And that's where the drive came from. I used to hear, I'll be hearing things in the
different layers.
Yeah, and I was like, how do I pick up on that little, symbol?
Yeah.
How did I hear that? Like, you understand? And the more I kept listening, the more I felt like, I actually want to do this. I want to create instrumentals. Do you understand? And I loved the details in jazz music. That's where it started from. So 13, I was using a phone. Not even my phone, my friend's phone. It's a Sony Ericsson phone. And it had this application called Music DJ. It had loops that you can make beats with. And I just started exploring it. I was making beats with my friends that were rappers that wanted to explore rap music. We'd do little raps to it. And then the whole class would be like, hey, everybody having fun. And I was like, this is fun,
At the time, you were not Guiltybeatz, were you?
I was just me. I was just me.
And so you were able to take that, that talent, that growing, budding talent into the studio as a sound engineer.
Yeah. Something about music, when you know it's yours, you never get tired of it.
Yeah.
So I never got tired of creating. I never got, it kept
You didn't feel like it's work.
Yeah, it was so exciting doing that from age 13 all the way to Johnson now. And it's
do you still get the same excitement?
Yeah, I'm not tired. I'm still...
Yeah, you're still producing.
Yeah, I'm still producing.
And you've produced a lot of hits. You're behind... The thing about producers like yourself is that you create so much work. You have a body of work that most people, unless they get deeper into the production of it, they don't know the people that are actually creating it. And then your music is sung to audiences around the world. How do you feel when you create a sound, say for example for Tems that you've worked with, for Beyonce that you've worked with, and it blows up and it's sung and you see them performing to an audience of millions?
It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
I'll just take you back to the first day I actually heard my production on radio. and I was like, whoa. I couldn't believe that I was in the studio making that, and the next month, I'm hearing it on this, like, on radio. Do you understand? It's a great feeling. It's actually an amazing feeling. Like, knowing that everything that I did is actually from my mind. Like, straight, manifested it physically, and then everybody is singing it.
And it catches the ears of people like Beyonce, and they love it to the point they're like, I want to work with this guy. How was that experience working with Beyonce, first of all? Because I know that's every producer's dream is to work with the queen.
Yeah. But it's a blessing, you know. It's a blessing to work with Beyonce, like, on a larger scale. Like, she's very powerful, and, you know, when I was discovered, you know, they got through to me, and we got in the studio. We worked on, you know, I worked on the Lion King album. We did that.
And Renaissance.
And Renaissance as well. And, you know, for her to be like, you know, I still want to work with Guilty is great. It's amazing.
Did you have that I'm not worthy type of moments, like, me, Beyonce wants to work with me?
Yeah, at the beginning I was like, wait, what does she want from me? Like, wait, what did I do? Just like, wait, how? Just it's very surprising. Like, you know, I was grateful, still grateful, you know, because that opened like a lot of doors.
Now, one of your biggest hits was Aquaba. At the time when most people were still kind of getting into the Afrobeat movement, so to say. But this was such a crossover hit. A lot of diaspora kids were into it, from the UK to the US here, then to the continent. Talk to me about that song, Aquaba. First, I mean, Aquaba means welcome in Tree.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
You understand? A little bit.
Good.
I've traveled there a little bit, so you know.
I like that.
But I feel like it was just, you know, symbolic. The fact that it was in your language. Is Tree your language?
Yes.
Yes.
Tree is my
in your language,
yeah.
And has become a crossover hit, and that it started a movement where even those that come after that, the songs that came after that, had the hallmarks of Aquaba.
Yeah.
Not even just the dancing, the choreographing, the virality of it all, you know.
So that song came about in 2017, where I was in a space where I was like, I want to release music that's just mine, like, as in, this is my song. I'm not producing for the artist. I'm going to feature the artist. I'm going to be like, we're going to be together on
collaborating.
The song. Yeah, we're going to be collaborating on the song, because I feel like that is the future of, like, you know, producers. You know, we have to evolve all the time. Yes, and you have to keep evolving. You have to know that, okay, this is what I'm going to do next. This is what I'm going to be doing. So that's the idea behind the song.
So you created the beat, you constructed it?
Yeah, I made the beat out of Papi Kojo's vocals. I sent it to Mr. Easy. He was like, whoa, this is fresh, it's new. What is this? I want to be part of that. I was like, yeah, of course. Like, you know, I sent it to him. He did his best like the next day. And, you know, we got Patapa on it also like the following week. And we're like, okay, we're going to do like a creative animation video. So we put that together. And we just like put it out to the world, and everybody was like, whoa.
Were you surprised at the reception?
It was instant.
A massive hit.
Everybody was like, we want this song today.
Yeah.
And then
the dance that came after that.
It came with the dance like that. And everybody, like, I felt like that song contributed like to the cultural shift of like music at that time. You know?
That's the right word. Created a cultural shift.
Yeah.
Let's go into the studio when you're creating these songs, these sounds. What is on your mind? What inspires you? Is it the moment? Do you have a template with which you draw from? What are some of the things that inspire you when you're creating sound?
If I'm by myself, like, my inspiration is literally like everything around me. You know, I could be hearing birds. I could be like, you know, in my head, like, oh, maybe I've heard this song like from way back. I'm like, okay, I want to replicate that. But if I'm with an artist, I always try to mold the sound around the artist. You understand? What can I do to make them better than they already are? Do you get? So I don't have like a template, and I don't have like, oh, this is what I do. Or when I open my laptop, this is what I'm going to do.
Is that in the moment when you're interacting with the artist, or you have to listen to the body of work of the artist and say, this is what this is the vibe of this artist, and I want to add to that vibe?
Yes.
Or I want to recreate that vibe in...
Yes, so I listen to them. I almost have to be like obsessed with them, you understand, to be able to get into like their space and be like, okay, I can make your space better than it is. I feel like if we take your voice and put it on these type of melodies, it's gonna be crazier than you already have. Do you understand? So I have to keep listening. Even before the session, I have to spend time with their music that they've already done. I'm like, okay. So the more I listen, I'm like, okay. I keep getting ideas in my head. I'm mostly in my head, like when it comes to like production, because I guess that's where the world is. And I move like that. And then when I get into the session, I'm like, okay, I know what to do with you now. After I've listened to a lot of like stuff that you've done, yeah.
Does the vibe between you and the artist also help? Like if you have the chemistry, I mean.
Yeah. You need to have the chemistry with the artist. If not, the whole session is gonna be.
Does it come through in the music if you don't have the chemistry between the producer? You can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Something is off.
Actually, even people can feel it.
Absolutely.
They're like, this music
is a little off.
Yeah, but it's because music is spiritual.
Yeah.
You know? Like you can never deny the fact that music is spiritual.
Absolutely.
And it's like
absolutely.
Even if the chemistry is good, and before the song comes out, there's a whole like argument going on. It affects the music because even the way the artist is gonna put it out, they're not,
they want to invest themselves into it.
You understand? So it's important that before any music comes out, before you have a session with an artist, make sure you guys
create a rapport.
You're happy. Do you understand? Like,
you hang out, you chill, you feel out each other and say,
like get to know them. Yeah, get to know them in a sense. And people just go in session like, okay, let's start making music. Like, nah, I'll get to know them, find things about them, what they like, what they don't like.
Yeah. So now that you've, I guess, transitioned into an artist and you're still producing, when artists reach out to you to collaborate, do you keep your stuff, like your hits, your potential hits, the good stuff for yourself, and say, I'll give them the other stuff?
No, bro, I make hits all around. You understand? So whether it's for the artist or for me, it's gonna be equal. Hits. But for me, I'm more experimental. So like, I will take your vocals and make something out of it. But for the artist, I'm always giving my best. I'm always gonna give.
You give 100.
Yeah, I'm always gonna give 100.
It does come through in your music too. So for people who want to know the difference between the role of a producer, producing, creating sound, but there are other aspects to a song also, constructing a song. There's mastering, there's mixing. Can you break that down for us? Okay, so the producer the producer is the guy that's overseeing. So it could be like me, I'm making the beat. I am telling the artist, oh, okay, retake the vocal this way. Let's arrange the song this way. The producer is making sure the song is done. Do you understand? Not just making the beat and just being like, some producers actually record like me. I record the artist and, select the right vocals and make the song. So that's the bit, like, for just anyone that doesn't understand like production, that's literally it. Make sure the song is done. So even if you need to advise the artist, take a 2 days break or 2 days break and come back. Let's retake this. Today your voice is not feeling so good.
Today your voice is that. Come back and let's redo all of that again. You understand? And I feel like producers you need to have patience. If you don't have patience, you will not bring out the best work. And that's why some songs take like forever to come out, because it needs to be the best work.
So you have full creative control in that moment?
Yes, you need to have full creative control, from making the beat to, recording. So when it comes to mixing, that's a different person's job, all right? So what they do is, and I'm going to go a little bit into details.
Into the weeds here, yes.
So what they do is, let's say they take a kick, they put an effect called compressor. They put like EQ on top of it. Like you can experiment and put like reverb if you want, like light reverb. But so EQ, compressor, to balance the kick, to make sure the kick is not like distorting or to cut out maybe the high ends.
Too much bass.
Detail, you know, cut out the high ends. Overall, what they do is, apart from the effects, they're gonna balance like the beat. Do you understand? So the snare, the hi-hats, percussions, you know, panning, they need to pan it left and right. They need to, like, each percussion need to bring it out. Like the solo it in Pro Tools or whatever, the solo it, put EQ on it and listen to it and be like, okay, I need to cut out, because, you know, the way frequencies work. So let's say the snare has like when the snare goes, it hits, and you can hear like a low end, and the conga has another low end. Together, it makes the whole thing muddy. So you hear like a lot of low ends in it. So what you can do is take out the low end from
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be the snare, because snares are like generally meant to like sit in the mid to high range. So you take out a little bit of the low end from the snare, and just
bump up the
and take out the bit of high end from the conga, but also take out a little bit of low end from the conga so that it doesn't clash with the kick at the same time. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. So those are the things that the mix engineer will
I love
do.
those details. And then mastering. So what's mastering?
So after you've done, so the whole entire job is in the mixing. So once the mixing is done, mastering is literally just boosting up the song to be a bit louder and clearer and wider. Yeah. So
do you do like for different platforms or like for different I guess speakers? Because sometimes you say this song does not feel well in this background, in this setting. It feels better in this setting.
Yes. So in the mixing stage, we use different speakers to test like the sound. Then after that, we go into the mastering stage. So after you've mastered the song, you boost it out, you made it sound great in your studio, take it to your car, listen to it in your headphones, and come back and be like,
let's reduce here, let's boost up here.
Okay, you know, because in mastering, we still do EQing in mastering. So just to reduce the work of the mix engineer, I'll be like, okay, the overall mix, I'm gonna reduce a little bit of the mid ends, you understand? And then, you know, reduce a little bit of the high ends as well, and, you know, keep the low ends in the middle somewhere. Do you understand? Yeah. So as you're mastering, you're kind of like mixing, but the whole thing is making sure the song is loud enough that when you're hearing it in the club, you can hear the bass, you can hear the kick, everything clear. Just that's the whole point of it.
I feel like we just got a masterclass 101 from the producer himself, Guiltybeatz. All right, so which one of your songs? I mean, you have like your catalog is massive. Just you're a very young guy, but your catalog is just immense. Which of the songs have you done? And you didn't feel it so much when you're producing it, but when it goes out, the reception has just blown you away. Whether it's your song or an artist's song.
Let me think about this. They're funny because I think because of the way I am, like because of I pay attention to so much detail. I don't have a song that I've put out that I'm like, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah.
Before
every
the
song is a banger.
Before this, even if it's not the major hit, like, before I put the song out, I know I'm in love with the song.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Just based on the work, the amount of time you've put in.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is that people don't understand. Like you invest yourself emotionally, creatively, with time in just a project. 3.5 minutes.
Just 3 minutes. Yeah. So because I take a lot of time and I put a lot of details and work into every song that I work on, whether it be my song or someone else's song. Yeah, I can't say that there's any song that I've put out that
That's a good answer. I've never had an artist tell me that this is my best song. They will say all of them are my best songs.
Yeah.
And it really does make sense because you put so much work in it. Especially. Let's talk about finally money, the money side of it for artists, for producers that are coming up. In terms of negotiating contracts. And this is, again, another masterclass for young producers that are watching this and saying, where is the money side of it. Now, we know that there's been a lot of interest, continuing interest in African culture, African creative products like yourself, like yours. How do you translate that into money, into income, into revenue?
So when it comes to talking about production.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So for someone, for where I am at this point, you know, knowing that now the world is like going for a lot of like African, you know, beats, Afrobeats and all that, you need to always position yourself. You need to know your worth.
Know your worth.
Yeah, you need to know your worth, so that when you're doing the contracts, you need to know that they are coming to me because they love what I'm doing, and they believe in you so much that they want to take what you have and push it to the world. So when it comes to contracts and signing and all that, I feel like make sure that whatever you're going to put, I mean, first of all, like read the contract properly and get it all sorted, and make sure that whatever you take makes sense to you, because they're actually taking, like, you know,
How do you know your worth? I mean, do you have to involve lawyers in it? Do you have to
involve lawyers.
Like, you know, the industry standards that are not...
No, you know what you've created.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And you know that, okay, I've created this thing and it's great. So get your lawyers ready, get your managers, let everybody go through what you have. And before it's presented, you know that, okay, this thing that I'm going to do is going to benefit me in the next years to come. You understand? So for producers, you need to position yourself well. You know, for producers that are like there, and upcoming producers, I feel like need to, now we're in like a social media age. Because when I was coming up, I didn't have, there was no like Instagram for me to do all of that. You get?
But now you have all these tools.
You have tools. There's Beat Stars where you can upload your beats and people are gonna buy.
Can rate you.
Rate you. You know, I feel like people need to have their websites as well. Upcoming producers, like, have everything sorted. The whole thing about producing is be ready, because as soon as your time comes, you know that you have everything like set. Do you understand? Once you have everything set, boom, you're gone. And when your time hits, it's gonna be next thing. You're gonna be having money all the time, bro.
And talking about Afrobeat now, I was having a conversation with somebody. We talked about how the biggest Afrobeat album from last year, which is I think Ashake, was really an Amapiano album. In terms of experimentation of the different beats. We see that relationship between South and West. These two genres kind of merging and converging to create, you know, what other areas in the world are you experimenting with the sounds to, you know, so we can look forward to some of those little, you know.
I think with that, I'm looking at, right now, I'm looking at like, I'm diving into like K-pop music. I'm trying to see how I can blend those two together. I feel like it's an untapped place that once you get in there and you're able to bring those two worlds together, it's going to be another culture shift. Because I've seen a couple people from that side that are doing like Afrobeats.
Who are some of the artists there?
No, there's some artists that I can't mention their name, but I've seen
You've seen their work.
I've seen on social that they're doing like Afrobeats. I'm like, ooh, people seen it, but they're not like taking action. And like, if you collab, it's gonna be, because for me personally, the whole point of like the music is bring different cultures together. Do you understand? I'm from Ghana and I know that, but I want to be able to bring, you know, South Asian culture. I want to be able to bring, you know, Japanese music, like all of that, just bring together South, like Egyptian, like all of that, North Africa, East Africa, just bring everybody together. Even if it's just like 2 or 3 artists from different like continents on one song, just understand the direction of the music. Yeah.
You're in Washington, D.C. We are speaking from the Voice of America studios. You have a performance tomorrow, July 4th.
Yes.
I feel like it's also very symbolic. I mean, July 4th, I don't know if you know about this, it's the biggest holiday in America. Are you on a world tour? Are you on a national tour in the U.S.? What are you up to?
I'm doing a gig tomorrow at Culture D.C. and I want people to come out. It's gonna be great year. I'm definitely starting my tour next year. I'm gonna be releasing my tape very soon. It's gonna be my album for this later down this year.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you any names you want to drop for us that you're working with?
I'm sure that? You can guess one name. Just guess one name.
Is it Burna Boy?
Guess more names.
Oh, I know who it is. I know who it is. It's gotta be Mr. Easy. Guiltybeatz, thank you so much for coming through, man. It was such a pleasure talking to you. The people that are behind the sound that is basically taking over culturally in the world, and some of the unnamed soldiers behind it. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you too.
And keep producing the big hits. Thanks for representing.
Yes, we're gonna keep pushing.
Yes,
worldwide.
for sure.
Thank you. Last night was crazy. I enjoyed it. The people were feeling me. I was feeling them. I feel like we're all in sync together. You understand? It was great energy, high energy. Everybody was enjoying themselves. Nobody was standing there, like, you know. Everybody enjoyed it, and it was fun. And I did play some bangers, and I did my little mixes. And yeah, it was a great set. It was a great set. People didn't even want to go home after. They were like, more music, more music. And I was like, yeah, I'll give you just 2. And I just played some 2 songs, and then we closed it. But yeah, shout outs DMV. I love this place. Amazing. So shout outs VOA. Respect.